Now yesterday I was teaching you about evaluation of Indian economy. In the evaluation of Indian economy, I have told you there was two choice between the economists at that time. Either they choose agriculture as the prime moving force or they choose industry as the prime moving force. Now this is a topic that is still debated among the economists, that what was the right decision, whether it was correct to choose industry as the prime moving force or agriculture should have been chosen. So this is something that is still debatable, and I told you it is easy to sit in 2016 and debate what happened in 1947. Post facto analysis is easy, but it was a difficult choice for the economists who had taken this decision that industry has to be the prime moving force. So I have told you that industry was chosen as the prime moving force, but we will be studying three different aspects here. First, yesterday I have told you why it was an illogical decision. Okay, why it was illogical. Now I will first tell you why agriculture was logical decision, and then I will tell you why industry was chosen. Because economists who have decided at that time that industry should be the prime moving force, they were not foolish people. There must have been some reason because of which they have chosen industry as the prime moving force. So we need to see what was their reason. So we will see this two concept today, why agriculture was logical and then why industry was chosen. Once we are done with this, we will be over with this chapter of evolution, because you will get a broad idea how India started after 1947, her economic development. Then next thing that started in 1947 was planning in India. So we will see what is planning. Though this chapter planning is a very less significance in your exam, because now planning commission has been scrapped and we will only see Niti Aayog. So role of Niti Aayog is completely different from planning commission, and now you do not have to study all those 5-year plans and detailed analysis of it. So I will just give you an idea what was 5-year plan, what was 20-year plan, what are the types of planning, how we got this idea of planning, and what were the different plan proposals that were made in pre-independent India. So we will see an idea background to planning commission, but we will not study planning commission in detail because it has been scrapped. But we will study Niti Aayog. So we will see what is the composition of Niti Aayog, what is their objective, what is the advantage, how they will try to achieve the growth, or how they will try to bring growth in Indian economy, or how they will do the job of planning. So though there is no planning commission, but plan development is still there. You still, economists need to plan how to run the economy. So we'll see that how role has changed and what is the transformation that has happened from planning commission to Niti Aayog. So first let me tell you why agriculture was the logical decision. Now why agriculture was the logical decision? First let me write it down, then I will explain it to you, okay? Don't worry about the explanation. Once I am done with it, I will explain it to you, okay? in the last point I have written, no adequate food security, shelter, that is housing, healthcare, education, arrow, development should have been the goal. I will explain, okay, don't worry about explanation, just write it down, then I will explain it to you. Just write it down. So now here we are understanding that why agriculture would have been the logical decision, or those economists who favored agriculture, what argument they gave in favor of agriculture, or why they are saying that agriculture would have been better. So first thing they are saying is that country was having natural resource, that is fertile land. India's land was very fertile. There are so many rivers that are flowing through India. So because of this, our land was very fertile and our agricultural output was good. So even though we were exploited to such an extent under colonial rule, still our land was fertile and we can increase the agricultural productivity. So here their argument of the economist is that when you can increase the output from agriculture activity, when your land is fertile, then why are you diverting this land from agriculture to industry? Because whether you do agricultural activity or you set up industry, you need land. So they are saying that when your land is fertile, transfer barren land, a country whose land is not fertile, if that country shifts their land from agriculture to industrial activity, then it sounds logical that okay, land was not of much productive use for agriculture, so it has been transferred. But their argument, when your land is fertile, when people are engaged in this occupation, why to take away their occupation and why to make them laborer in factories? Let them do the production. Focus on increasing the agriculture productivity. First, increase the revenue from agriculture, because one of the natural resource and one of the significant resource or significant material that is required for agriculture sector is fertile land, and we have that material available. So if you have fertile land in your country, why are you diverting that fertile land to industry today? Don't divert it. First, use this fertile land. First, increase the productivity. Then, with the increase in productivity, with the increase in income, increase in taxes, shift to the industrial activity. Just a moment. Now, next point that they gave was human resource does not require any higher training. I have told you that job in agriculture sector is of unskilled nature. However, job in industrial sector is of semi-skilled and skilled nature. Yesterday we have discussed that there was shortage of labor. Why there was shortage of labor? Because people were unskilled. Plus there was no skill training institute to such an extent which can impart skills, because we do not have technical know-how. So when you do not have labor, why do you want to go for a sector in which there will be labor shortage? Go for focusing on agriculture sector. Why? Because in the agriculture sector, you do not need to give any training. You need unskilled labor. Unskilled labor is present. So why not focus on improving productivity in agriculture sector? These people will not get unemployed. Suppose what happens, there is a particular land. Now you take away the land, okay, and set up an industry. But those farmers or those cultivators who were working in this land, what they will do? They do not have the skill. So they will become unemployed because you have taken away their land. It would have been productive if they could be engaged in the industrial sector, but they could not be engaged because neither they have the skill nor government has the skill training institute. So unskilled people, if you take away the job of unskilled people, then unskilled people will slip into poverty, because this unskilled people has no means to acquire skill and work in a higher sector. So if you cannot give alternative employment to unskilled person, why to take away his job? Let him do the job. So if focus would have been given on agriculture sector, this human resource, that is at that time almost all the people were engaged in agriculture activity. So this people would have increased the production. So ultimately your income of the nation or national income would have increased. So why to make this human resource unemployed? when they have the adequate training for agriculture sector. Third is, with land ownership reforms and irrigation, there was better prospect for growth of agriculture sector. Now I have told you one of the crucial factor of production is your land reforms. Now pace of land reform was very slow in India. It was so slow that till 2013 all the land acquisition in India happened under a colonial law that was passed in 1894. So even after independence, no successive government taken care of land reforms. So land is such a crucial factor production, and no care has been taken to, no steps have been taken to do land reforms. And see, because if you are looking at the industrial sector in comparison to agriculture sector, you need capital, you need land, you need labor, you need entrepreneurship. So many areas have to focus on. Here you only need to work on land reform and increase in irrigation facility. If the government could have focused only on this two area, because labor you do not need, capital you do not need, entrepreneur you do not need. Only thing that you need to take care of is land ownership. So if land reforms would have undertaken, if land records would have been digitalized, it would have been easy to purchase, sell land. And if those people who are holding large amount of land, if there would have been ceiling on their land, and that land would have been distributed to landless laborers, and if irrigation facility would have been extended, that is, if you can make sure that water reaches every field, then there is so much high prospect for the growth of agriculture sector. So only with few steps you can develop that sector in which all the population is currently employed. But we did not choose this. We went to a sector in which we had no experience, no expertise, and no resources. Fourth, no adequate food security. Now, basic requirement of any society initially is not higher growth, but food security, basic housing facility, healthcare and education, right? I have already told you that development does not comes with the growth. Focus of the government at that time was to increase growth, but we have seen that growth automatically does not result in development. If development has to be taken care of, or if focus is on development, then only development will come into your society. Now, before 1947, famine was a very regular feature. Whenever there is bad monsoon and whenever drought will occur, in that particular year, it has been seen that after drought, famine will happen. That is, many people will die out of hunger. So we do not have food security. Even till Green Revolution, we were not able to produce enough food which we can consume. We have to import our food. We were dependent upon other countries to send us food grain. So point is, food is the basic need of any society. So first focus should be on increasing the food security so that no one faces food shortage. First priority should have been given to food security. Now, India already had a problem about food security. We do not have enough food security, and at that time you are diverting land. So first you are having problem of food security, and you are amplifying that problem by diverting the land from agriculture to industrial sector. Because if land will go for industrial sector, then production from land will fall again. From the beginning only we are facing problem, and despite facing problem, we have diverted land for industrial sector. Now next, fifth point is expand PPP first, then go for expansion of industry. Now here it will be 2PP. It is purchasing power. Just write it down. This is purchasing power. PP is purchasing power. Okay, just write it down. PP as purchasing power. So what this point is saying is, first expand purchasing power, then go for expansion of industry. Point is, I have told you yesterday that there was no market for industrial goods. Who is going to buy this industrial goods? It is the agriculture sector, because mostly people were engaged in agriculture sector. So there will be some demand from the industrial. Suppose if industry is making any particular commodity, so there will be some demand from the industrial sector, but major demand will come from agriculture sector, because most of the people are engaged in agriculture sector. That's why this is saying that first expand the purchasing power. First, increase the income of people who are engaged in agriculture sector. Once you increase their income, then expand industry, because ultimately if your income will increase, then you will have the money to pay and buy goods that will be produced by industry. If I will just focus on industry and production industry, that will be of no use, because what these people will do, where will they go and sell their product? They need someone to buy. So in order to grow industry, or in order to expand industry, first focus should be taken on increasing the purchasing power in the agriculture sector. If their purchasing power increases, they will buy this industrial good. So if farmer's income will increase, then only he will go for farm mechanization. If his income is not increasing, he will never mechanize his farm. Is it clear this far? Is it clear this far? All the 5 points. Is it clear to you? Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you. Let's go ahead and now let's see why industry was chosen as the prime moving force. Now this will answer your question. One of you have doubt that why there no benefit in industry or no favorable point. So you will get all the favorable points here. PMF is prime moving force, okay? First write down the points, then I will explain. Okay, first let me explain these 4 points, then I will go ahead and explain other points. Now, what is the first point? In first point, I have written modernization of agriculture sector not possible without growth of industrial sector. Now, what this economist, this sort of economist, this school of economists are saying is that they are saying that we have chosen industry as the prime moving force because we have the objective of mechanizing agriculture sector. Now, if you want to modernize agriculture sector, if you want to introduce farm mechanization, you need industrial goods. Now, India chose to be a closed economy after 1947. So, when you have choose to be a closed economy, then from where will the industrial goods come? You are dependent upon other countries to sell you product. You do not have self-sufficiency. So, how will you modernize your agriculture sector? It is right that agriculture sector should be modernized to increase the income from agriculture sector, but it has to be understood that from where will this machines or from where will this industrial goods come. So in order to support in agriculture sector, growth of industrial sector is necessary. If the industry will grow, then only they will produce the goods that is required by the agriculture sector. And when they will produce the goods, these goods can be used by the agriculture sector. So growth of industrial sector will increase the income for the agriculture sector. So what government thought that time, that government will push industrial growth. If industrial growth is taken care of, these industries with the support of government, they will produce the goods that is required by agriculture sector. And when agriculture sector will incorporate these machineries, and when agriculture sector will use this industrial goods, income in agriculture sector will increase. So ultimately whole economy will grow. Industrial sector will grow, that will make the agriculture sector mechanized. Productivity in agriculture sector will grow, so ultimately both the sectors will grow and whole economy will grow. Second thing is industrialization already proven its support to growth by 1947. Point is, either at that time growth was coming either from the agriculture sector or growth was coming from the industrial sector or agriculture sector. So by 1947 it has already been seen that Russia has achieved higher growth because of industrialization and planned development. European countries have achieved higher development, higher growth. America has achieved higher growth. Japan has achieved higher growth. Point is, industrial revolution started in 1800, and with the start of industrial revolution, it has seen that in the like if you are standing in 1947, just think about the past 150 years. So you have a proven record of past 150 years that your industry has given higher growth to the economy. So these economists who were standing in 1947, they can read the history. They can read 1800 to 1947. So they know that industry or industrialization has resulted in higher growth. And people like Nehru wanted higher growth for the country. They wanted growth to come at a very faster pace. So he had some vision that India will grow at a double-digit rate for coming few decades. So he wanted faster growth. So he thought that industrialization, which has already proven its efficiency, why not apply that in India, and why not to industrialize India? Let's industrialize India so that India will grow at a higher pace. Now some economists debate that why growth was focused when development is necessary and growth does not bring development automatically. Now here counter argument is that we have studied it is only by 1990 that economists have shifted their focus to development. Before 1990, focus was on growth. So if in 1947 focus was on growth and not on development, then how those economists who have chosen industry over agriculture can be blamed for choosing growth over development? All the economists, everyone in that time, all the economists in the world were focusing on growth. So why to blame Indian economists for choosing growth over development when everybody was choosing growth over development? Third thing is support from international institution for industrialization. So during this time there were international institutions like World Bank. So this international institution were willing to provide support to those countries, were willing to provide cheaper loan to those countries that wanted to industrialize. So if you want to build road, you will get money. If you want to build railways, ports, you will get money. If you want to construct dam, generate hydroelectricity, you will get money. So when you are getting this support from the international institution, when you see that there is a chance of getting cheaper loan and this money can be channelized for development and industrialization, so this economist thought, why not to take benefit of cheaper loan and industrialize my country also? let's industrialize my country. So let's take this money and engage it in production, road, in cement, in generating electricity, in constructing dam, in interlinking rivers. Okay. Fourth point is a little bit different. Can I rub this 3 points? Can I rub this initial 3 point? Is all the 3 point clear to you? Is all the 3 point clear to you? Okay, I hope it is clear. Now, here I have written that it results in faster urbanization. Now, just recall yesterday's discussion. I have told you that industries grow in a cluster. When I say industries grow in a cluster, what does this mean? Suppose rubber is available in this particular region. So if rubber is available, then tire industry will grow in this region. If tire industry will grow, this is required in the automobile sector. So automobile sector will grow in this region, right? So point is, because of availability of one raw material, rubber, the industry came into this region. Rubber industry, tire industry, automobile industry. So industries always grow in a cluster. Now what will happen is that this covers a large area of land. When industry is growing in a cluster, a large area of land is engaged in the industrial activity. Now, this industry requires labor. So people will work in labor industry, people will work in tire industry, people will work in automobile industry. So what will happen is, these people who are working in this three situated nearby, they will start coming, settling down in the nearby region. So they will come and settle down in and around this factory region. Okay, these people will come and they will settle down here, because they are working in three different sectors, and there is such a large number of labor working in rubber, labor working in tire sector, labor working in automobile sector. They will not travel long distance every day. So what they will do is, they will try to settle down in and around the place where they are working. So they will settle in these places. Now when people will start coming from villages and start settling in and around the region where industry is being set up, what will happen? Government will build road here, right? Roads will be built here, railways will be built here, airports will come, telegraph system will be there, communication will improve, schools will come, hospital will come, parks will come. So point is, this area will automatically start developing, and this area will become urbanized. Why? Because people will start coming and settling down in and around this area, right? So municipal corporation will come, government offices will come. So this area will get urbanized. So one of the way of urbanizing your country, or one of the way of bringing people out of villages, is set up industry. If you set up industry, people will come and settle in and around that area, and slowly your industrial region will lead to urbanization. Industrialization of a region leads to urbanization, because urban settlements start growing in and around that area. So our leaders had the focus that we want to rapidly urbanize the nation. So because at that time hardly there were few urban centers like Calcutta, Bombay, and your Madras, and hardly few centers were urbanized. So they wanted rapid urbanization. So they thought that one of the way of rapid urbanization is, let's industrialize the nation. If we will industrialize, automatically urban settlement will come, and automatically people will come and urban settlement will start taking place, and our country will get urbanization. Okay, or our country will be able to achieve urbanization. Is it clear this far? Okay, let's move ahead. Just give me a moment, please. just look at these 2 points. Now, at that time, agriculture was considered as a symbol of backwardness. British have already projected India as a backward society. Indians have no respect in that time around the globe because we were colonized. We were slave of British. So we were never respected anywhere. And British have always projected India as a backward society. Though in ancient time, India has made so much discovery, and Indian history is so glorious in the ancient period, and we have made so much development, and we were much ahead of the European time. But with the British, they have always projected negative picture of India, and they have always projected India as a backward society. Now, agriculture at that time was considered as a symbol of backwardness. So if your country is focusing on agriculture, then it means that your country do not know how to progress. That's why you do not have know-how, you do not have technical know-how, you are underdeveloped. That's why you have chosen agriculture. If you have a progressive mind, you will choose industry, because all other countries are choosing industry and they are industrializing their nation. So if you are not doing this, if you are doing something apart from what others are doing, and you are not following the trend, then you are considered as a backward, because you are still engaged in a sector which others have rejected. Others have moved forward to industry. You are still engaged in agriculture. So our leaders like Nehru, they never wanted to project India as a backward society. They wanted to show to the world that India is a forward-looking society. So in order to project India as a forward-looking society, they discarded agriculture. They said that we will also choose industry to show to the world that yes, India is a forward-looking society and not a backward society. Last significant point is Second World War has proved supremacy of defense. Supremacy of defense power, in the sense, with the Second World War, it was evident, it was seen to all of you, all the countries, that defense requirement or defense is so important to maintain territory, or defense is so important to maintain freedom. Defense is still important today, but understand, today from past so many years, we have not seen country going and acquiring another territory. But in 1800, in 1900, colonization was a very common thing. So if you want to protect your country from being colonized, you need strong defense. Without strong defense, you cannot protect. Now, how will defense sector grow into your country? One of the major requirement for defense is industrial sector, because defense cannot come from agriculture sector. You have to have a good strong industrial base to develop defense sector. Defense need a very strong industrial base, right? You need cement, iron and steel, coal, electricity, science and tech has to be developed, aeronautical engineering has to be developed, communication industry has to be developed. So there are so many sectors that have to be developed to take care of the defense. Now, in order to meet the need of defense, you need to industrialization. Because if you do not industrialize, you will not be able to produce weapons that you need to protect your country. And if you cannot build up the weapons that you need to protect your country or defend your territory, you will have to buy those equipments. And when you will be buying those equipments, then you are left at the mercy of the country that is exporting. So today, if Russia is exporting us arms, then tomorrow we cannot even think of going at war with Russia, because Russia already have the know-how of the defense equipment we have, or we are relying on foreign countries for such a crucial need, that is defense. You cannot leave your defense in someone else's hand. But if you do not industrialize, you will be left at the mercy of foreign countries that will be providing or giving you defense equipment. So in order to make sure that India became self-reliant, we need to industrialize. Is it clear this far? Is your doubt clear, Baji? You asked, I think you specifically asked whether there is no favorable point. Okay, so I hope now you are convinced that there are favorable points supporting industrialization. Okay. So I hope now you have got a broad idea about. See, when I was discussing primary sector, secondary sector, agrarian economy, industrial economy, then that was just the beginning. I hope now you have got a broader picture how we started after 1947. Let me take up the topic of planning, and then it will be more clear to you. So first, after planning, I will tell you about economic reforms. So economic reforms will be the last theoretical kind of chapter in which I will be taking you throughout the journey of India, like how our economic development took place. So first I have told you about this evolution, agriculture and industry. Little bit I will discuss about planning, then I will discuss about economic reforms, and then we will take up specific chapters. Specific technical chapters are like what is inflation, how do you manage inflation in the economy, how it is measured, what is the role of RBI in measuring inflation and controlling inflation. Then we will look at the banking sector, then we will look at the financial sector, we will look at capital market, we will look at primary market, what is security market, then we will look at the external sector. So specific technical area of economics I have not touched yet. First I want to build up your theoretical base. Once your theoretical base has been built up, then I will take on the technical chapters, because inflation, banking, monetary policy, fiscal policy, budget, financial market, security market, exchange rate, they are technical area of Indian economy. So before going into technical area, I want you to build up your theoretical base. So two more chapters are there that are little bit theoretical like this, your planning commission and economic reforms. So don't expect, see, no question will be asked from this chapter. This was purely for your understanding. But some questions in prelim can be asked for planning commission, though there is very less chance because it is not technical. So question will be factual if it comes in your exam, but it can be asked. Analytical question will come from the chapter of inflation onwards. After inflation, all the chapters that we will study, they are completely technical. Here I have given you 6 points. If someone asks you that why industry was chosen, you can mug up and tell these points. But in those inflation, banking sector, you cannot mug up anything. They will be you will have to completely rely on your understanding. Until and unless you understand that those chapters, you will not be able to mark your answer correctly in prelims. So that's why I classify them as technical chapters. So let's do some more theoretical discussion to understand how our economy has evolved after 1947. Then by the time I will discuss economic reforms, you will get a good confidence in the subject. And then I want to shift you to a higher level of technicalities. Okay? So let me rub it out. Why it is not that significant today? Because planning commission has already been scrapped and role of Niti Aayog is completely different. Okay, let me write it down. Now first you will ask me what is a planned economy. Okay, I have told you so many times planning. So first you want to know that what is a planned economy. Now planned economy is an economy where planning plays a crucial role Now, first understand what is a planned economy. I have told you that any economy faces central problems. What were those central problems? What to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Now, any economy try to answer this problem. So, one of the way of answering this problem is via planning. That is, there will be a body which will decide how to solve this problem, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. So if there is a dedicated body to solve this problem, then we say that it is a planned economy. So what happens is, in this planned economy, state plays a dominant role. And anyways, before 1991, though our economy was a mixed economy, state played a larger role. So when we say that planning plays a crucial role, it means state plays a crucial role. State does not mean the way we have bifurcated our state, West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh and your Maharashtra. State means India. So government basically will play a crucial role in allocation of resources. So why do they need to allocate resources? They need to allocate resources to decide what to produce. So to which sector resources should be diverted. Should bread, that is a peacetime good, that should be produced, or defense or guns, that is a wartime good, that should be produced. How to allocate resources, whether labor should be engaged more or capital should be used, for whom to produce. So how to tax and distribute resources. So point is, what is a planned economy? Planned economy is an economy where planning plays a crucial role, where state plays a crucial role. There will be a body which will decide in which direction your economy should move, and then they will take steps accordingly. Now, when planning plays a crucial role, then obviously you have to write your planning in some way. Suppose if you are planning to appear for 2016, so you will have to make a plan. First, when you are making this plan, then this process is called planning. That you are planning how will you take tuition, how will you study general studies, how will you study optional. But after thinking, you will write it somewhere. So when you write it somewhere, then we call it a plan or a document. So say you gave the target that in this many days I will complete this much syllabus, right? So what is an economic plan? Economic plan is basically a set of economic targets to be achieved in a given period of time. So for this decade I will achieve this much industrial growth, I will produce this much quantity of cement, this much roads have to be built, this much railways have to be built, this thing has to be achieved, this much school have to be built, this has to be the level of literacy rate, this is the level of healthcare coverage, or this will be the level of banks coverage, right? Or this will be the number of banks per person. So planning is the process in which state decides how to allocate resources. Now when they do this, they will write it somewhere. Wherever they are writing this document is called economic plan. So economic plan is a document which will give you a set of targets that you need to achieve this thing in this time. Okay? Is it clear? Is it clear this far? Okay. So let's see what are the types of plan. There are different ways of classification. So first is on the basis of coverage. So what are the types on the basis of coverage? Either it is a comprehensive plan, or it is a partial plan. So what happens is that in case of comprehensive plan, you are planning for all the sector, agriculture, industry and service sector, and after that also, in that also you are deciding, like in industry, what are the sectors, so what should be the role for cement, what should be the role for fertilizer, what should be the role for sugar, electricity. So comprehensive plan is when you are deciding for all the sector, when you are making plan for whole economy. However, Partial plan is when you are making plan for a particular sector, right? Just by the name you can understand. Comprehensive and English are comprehensive and partial are English word. So if it is comprehensive, you are deciding for all the sector. If it is partial, then you are deciding for some sector. So maybe if agriculture sector is growing slow, then you can think that okay, I will divide or I will decide the plan for the agriculture sector. Just give me a moment, please. Am I audible? Now this is second one is very crucial. Please listen to it carefully. See, one of the crucial feature of India was such that India was a democracy. India was a democratic country, and despite being the democracy, India decided that state will play a larger role. Okay, so state will dominate. Despite being the democracy, India decided state will play a larger role. Now, on the basis of economic system, there are two kind of plans. One is imperative, one is indicative. Now when I say that a plan is imperative, means plan will have physical targets. It will direct you that you have to do this. Like this year 50,000 ton of cement has to be produced. This year this many kilometer of road has to be built. This year this many schools have to be opened, right? So imperative is when you are directing that do this thing. Indicative is when you are giving indication. So just let me give you one example, then it will be clear to you how an imperative plan is different from indicative plan. In imperative plan, you will issue license. Okay, suppose you want that your economy should produce 50,000 cement and not more than that. So what you will do is you will issue the license that okay, I will those who are interested in producing cement, come and apply. I will issue you the license, and once license has been given for 50,000 ton, after that you will not give more license. Okay, so that is imperative plan. But what happens in indicative plan? In indicative plan you say that if any sector that will produce cement, okay, if any sector that will produce cement, I will give you loan at a cheaper rate of 8%. So instead of 12%, you will get a discount of 4% and you have to pay interest of only 8%. So this is an indicative plan. Government is indicating that I want cement sector to grow. So how will I ensure cement sector will grow? I will give this initiative. So my ideas, my communication or my plan will indicate you which direction I want to take the economy. So I will not directly force you to produce cement, but if I want you to produce cement, I will give you some kind of subsidy. Maybe I will exempt your excise duty. Maybe I will give you land at a lower price. So my plan will indicate my intention. In imperative, I am not indicating anything. I will directly order that do this, do that, this has to be done, this will be done. In indicative, I will set targets or I will show signs that I want this thing. So you will get an indication that what government want. So it will help you to divert your resources, because if you want, see what happens is maybe there is low cement production because cost is too high in India. So in order to compensate that, they will give some kind of benefit. So people get an indication that okay, if we go to this particular sector, or if outsider look at the plan, then they get the idea that okay, government through this plan want to increase the cement production for next 5 years. So their plan is indicating their action or indicating in which way they want the economy to go. But in imperative, this is not the case. They will specifically say that we want this sector to grow, so we will give license for this many sectors and we will give license for this much quantity. Is it clear? Is it clear this far? Okay, so now next topic that we need to do in the, I hope you get a broad idea of what is the meaning of planning, right? Is there any confusion with regard to the word planning or how a planned economy functions? Is there any doubt with regard to? Okay, so one more thing I want to discuss here before going into Niti Aayog is how our plan evolved, because after, it is not that after 1947 we have decided that India will be a planned economy. This decision that India will be a planned economy was taken during our freedom struggle. So different plans were formed while we were struggling to get freedom from British. So tomorrow first I will start with those plans, that what were the plans that were discussed or that were developed before independence and what gave shape to the planning commission. And then since planning commission is scrapped, so I will directly move to the Niti Aayog, and then I will tell you what is the composition, what is the feature, what is the advantage, and how Niti Aayog is different from planning commission. Is it clear? Is it clear this far? Okay. How are you finding the classes? How are you finding the classes? Good. Okay. So have you attended other videos of environment? I think you have an environment class today. Okay, okay. Do make sure that as soon as possible you watch economy and history classes also, because at least in economy it is very necessary that you watch earlier classes, because your concept is discussed in such a way that your topics are discussed in such a way that your concept builds up one by one. So I have designed the chapters in that way. You will get time in weekend, so try and watch, at least watch economy first. Because after inflation you will have lot of doubt when I will start with inflation if you are not clear with the basic chapter. So try by Sunday you finish all your economy lectures. Also, in case if you ever miss any lecture, make sure that before coming to the next class you watch the recorded class first. Okay, because if you miss any topic in between, then you will find it difficult to understand other topics, because all the topics are interrelated in economics. Okay, then thank you. See you tomorrow.
You are currently the only person in this conference.